I don't know why I did that. Hey, it's the Loftus party. I was gonna do like a Steven Tyler thing, and like and obviously I can't do it. That came out so sad. It was like a racist Mexican joke. I apologize for that noise. That was supposed to be in my brain.
You should apologize to me. I'm a big Aerosmith fan, and you thought that was Steven Tyler?
It was in my brain. It sounded just like it. I don't from like Dream On, and no, it did not. That was poorly executed. Liberty Gypsy. That sounded horrible. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. What a crazy show. There's so much going on in the world. First, let's check in with you. How are you doing over there?
Oh, I'm doing great. Had a great Father's Day with my dad.
Oh, my goodness, Father's Day. Yep.
Awesome.
What did you and King of the Gypsies do? That's who your dad is. He's King of the Gypsies.
Oh, he's King of the Gypsies. He'll be happy to know that.
I'll let him know. He's not the Gypsy King. He's King of the Gypsies. King of the Gypsies, that's like a nickname he gave to himself, so nobody really like worships or anything. It is like he doesn't get to do laws. The Gypsy King would do that. Your dad's okay. I'm off the track. What did the King of the Gypsies get for Father's Day?
He actually got Tom Shalhoub's book because I thought it was funny.
Tom Shalhoub. What's the name of the old book by Tom Shalhoub?
Mean Dads for a Better America.
And you know what? Tom Shalhoub taking a little page out of the Flipside TV show handbook. Did you see what Tom Shalhoub did for his cover art?
The Norman Rockwell thing.
Exactly. He put his face in a Norman Rockwell painting. And who's been doing that now for the past year and a half, 2 years?
Oh, that would be you.
That would be correct. Although he picked a good one. He picked a really good picture to do. So you're saying it's a funny book? You liked it?
Yeah. You know what? It kind of reminds me. My dad really found A Christmas Story hysterical because it was very analogous to his childhood. Like a lot of the things in there rang true for him because it was about set when he was a kid. And this for me was very reminiscent of the time he was a dad. So it'll talk about things that his kids did in kind of the same vein. So
that's cool. We should have, you know what we should do? We should try to get Tom Shalhoub on the show here so he could talk about the book.
Well, Tom Shalhoub follows me on Twitter, so I'll ask him.
Invite him.
I will.
I'll tell you what. I'll just say it right now. We're gonna. I'm not saying it's gonna happen next week, but on this podcast, we're gonna start having more guests. I'm gonna announce it right now. Kevin James said he would be on the show.
Ooh, fun!
That's a heavy hitter right there. That'll be a fun episode. I won't get a word in edgewise, but
we're
not just. Oh, it'll be a blast. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be fun. There's gonna be a lot of laughs.
Yep.
Because it's not just politics. It's politics. It's pop culture. It's all of the above. But there's people who are into politics that they don't want. Whatever. We have a little bit. It's a buffet. It is a entertainment and political buffet. All right. So speaking of a political buffet, a recent a poll came out today, and Bernie Sanders is the most popular politician in America.
I don't get it.
Well, I mean, I do. I get it because he's the also ran. He's the Bernie, you had a heart of gold and Hillary screwed you over, and now we got mean old Donald Trump up there. We love you, Bernie. You keep going, guy. That's why he's the most popular. I totally see why he's the most popular.
You really think it's because people see him as getting screwed?
I think his fans, the people who voted for him when they're not out trying to assassinate Republican baseball players.
Jeez.
I mean, we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. Enough. Woody Allen said that like comedy is tragedy plus time. You know, that's where. Did you hear that? That was crazy.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I just heard that. I got this crazy chime in my headphone. Anyway. Yeah, I think the reason they like Bernie Sanders is he promised them all this stuff. He talks about this great utopia we could have if the 1% would just pay their share and if we just made it fair. And these people, I guarantee you, they believe that if Bernie Sanders was running the country, things would be fair and everything would get better.
Okay, first of all, fair is when I'm eating your candy.
Yeah.
Yep, that was one of my, that was my father-in-law's favorite saying when the kids were small and would say, "That's not fair." Second of all, Bernie Sanders owns 3 homes. He made $1.8 million last year, and I think we should nominate him to be the first one, Michael, first one, that has to give $100,000 to some schmuck we pick, and then he's got to take one of his 3 houses and make it into a homeless shelter.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. And I tell you, like, I know he's got the 3 houses. His wife inherited some property after, like, her folks died, and that's how they got the 3rd house. And after she, I don't know what happened. I know she got some kind of parachute after she put that college out of business. Right. But really, if you ever talk about a dude that needs to practice what he preaches, like Gandhi, right? Gandhi was out there preaching all kinds of stuff, but he's sitting there, wearing a loincloth and, making his own clothes and doing yarn and stuff.
And starving to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Barely getting by. And Bernie Sanders, that just like the audacity, like some people get bugged, like when Leonardo DiCaprio tells him about climate change, but yet he's got a private jet and blah, blah. For whatever reason, that one just doesn't resonate with me. But Bernie Sanders, when he starts talking about fair, and that dude, $1.8 million he made last year. Mm-hmm. First of all, I don't know how he made that money, but you just want to say, Mother Blanker, you are the 1%.
He is. And he's very typical of the 1% in a socialist structure. The ruling class never loses their money.
That is the truth. And
Never.
I tell you what, these kids, I don't know how long, if you're a new listener or whatever, but they always say the same thing, you guys, that, Russia, that didn't work because it didn't do the recipe right. That wasn't real socialism. And Venezuela, that's not real socialism. And Cuba, that's not real. It's always not real. Well, show me a real one and show me the one that works, because people are so eager to go down this slip and slide with Bernie Sanders when it never works.
Never. That's
what drives me crazy about it.
Socialism.
And it's always... Yeah, and they always have their like Che T-shirt on, and they got the old Soviet Union flag, and you're like, hey, how'd communism work in the Soviet Union? Well, that wasn't real communism. Well, then why are you marching around with their flag? Put that down. Where's your flag? Where's the Bernie Sanders flag? The Bernie Sanders flag of fairness.
Well, and they always ignore how many people that the Soviets and Che and everybody else killed to make that happen.
Oh, they're the world leader.
Yep.
They're the world leader.
Yep. Socialism, killing more people than any other form of government ever, and making everybody else's life equally crappy.
Yeah, they'll talk about and Hitler, monster, right? Listen, straight up monster, killed a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Joe Stalin, monster, straight up monster, killed a lot of people. Who's the Chinese guy? Pol Pot?
No, that was Mao, I believe. Pol Pot was Cambodia.
Yeah, well, Pol Pot, Chairman Mao, both those guys. Straight up monster. Can you read a book? Do you know how to read? Oh, you animate the people. it's straight up racist voice day. I'm apologizing
Well,
for
speaking of racism, how about the slants?
Hey. That is.
I'm sorry.
That's the best transition. Best one ever. Speaking of racism, how about the slants? I'm dying.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that was the best. Oh, yeah, the Supreme Court thing.
Yeah.
Oh, what a sentence. That was the best. That made it all worthwhile. I think my whole purpose of doing any kind of podcast to this point was for that sentence. Speaking of racism, how about the slants?
Now you're laughing and I'm laughing. This is like when we were at CPAC and that whole zombie apocalypse thing happened.
Oh, and boy, I was right.
You were right.
Was I right.
Yeah, you were right.
Wasn't that creepy? if you're new to the show, here's what happened. We're at CPAC, and it was like this really weird vibe. And I'm like, this is like really creepy. It's like right before a zombie attack. I was just getting the heebie-jeebie, and then boom, I didn't even know it. There was curtains behind us, just like thunder, lightning, hail. There was like that weird, my spidey senses were tingling. But anyway, just so everybody doesn't think we're horrible racists, the Supreme Court is what we're talking about.
Yes, in an 8-0 decision.
Yeah, that's
they
great.
They all got on board. I don't know. It was some Obama era prohibition on something, and there was a band who happens to be a bunch of Asians that called themselves the Slants that were told
Which is a great name.
Isn't it, though? We're told they couldn't call themselves that because it was racist, and then we have the whole Washington Redskins thing. But the greatest thing about this decision, I honestly believe this is the best news I've heard, in a month, easy, is every single justice said, we don't put prohibitions on speech that offends one group of people, because before you know it, we're never going to be able to say anything.
Yeah, we'll just be communicating with grunts and clicks and emojis.
College students everywhere, you do not have a right not to be offended.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. You're not going to – that's the perfect thing. You do not have the right to not be offended. And that that was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy for – in a weird way, I always thought it was the Washington Redskins this was the problem, and this was the big case. I knew nothing about a band called the Slants.
Neither did I, and I thought it was fabulous.
And those dudes look cool. I haven't listened to any of their music. I'm going to now. I'll probably download some of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh, here's another band that I just discovered. I want to say La Tigre. And they're fantastic. It's this girl like punk angry group, Le Tigre. And I'm like jamming out, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy that song. That's good. And then I go to another song, and they actually wrote the theme song for Hillary Clinton. They wrote the official Hillary "I'm with Her" like punk anthem. It's horrible. It's garbage.
Well, how could you really take that and make it into something? I mean, her logo looked like a hospital sign.
Yeah, they tried. Bless their heart, but that was the horrible logo. And that's the other thing. My liberal friends, you gotta just come to grips with this. She was a crappy candidate. I can't say that enough. That's why Trump won.
The best thing that came out of that whole book about her campaign and everything was the fact that "It's Her Turn" was actually under consideration for a slogan.
Yeah. Hey, it's her turn.
It's her turn.
And wouldn't it be wonderful if we did elect a girl president, a woman president? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't that send a great message? That's like when I'm going to pick a president, their genitalia, I don't even think makes my wish list.
No, not at all.
I'm looking for who's going to do the best job, who's going to keep us safe, who's going to let us thrive. And speaking of thriving, I guess the Dow, I don't know, when I went to work today, the Dow was crushing it.
Really?
It was like in the mid 21s. It was like 21,400 and blah blah blah. I mean, like they're talking about it could they could get 22,000 very soon.
Wow!
And like a bunch of money so much wealth has been created just because the stock market's doing good. And I know I don't feel it. I don't feel it. You don't feel it. Probably our listeners don't feel it. But I tell you what, I'm a firm believer in trickle down. You get like, oh my gosh, these guys are making money. They feel confident. You know what? We should build that. You know what? Let's work on that new factory. Let's hire some dudes to run that factory. Everybody gets a taste. Everybody gets a taste.
Well, in new coal mine is either starting or reopening in Pennsylvania for the first time in 8 years.
Yeah, first new coal mine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Lots of people over in Pennsylvania pretty excited.
I bet they're thrilled.
Yeah,
I bet they're thrilled. I tell you what, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think old Trumpy is doing okay. People are freaking out. Why won't he tweet? Why won't he listen to his handlers and stop tweeting? I love it.
Well, no, the poor guy gets it. Oh my God, he hasn't tweeted in 21 hours. They must have taken his phone. Oh my God, he's tweeting again. Look at this. And then, oh my God, he didn't pray for the soldier or the naval guys that died in the boat. Yeah, he did yesterday. Yesterday he did.
And then they did another one with that poor guy. What's the guy's name? Scalise that got shot. And Trump goes to visit the guy in the hospital, and the reporter from the New York Times goes, Trump didn't even go in there. He didn't even go to the guy's room, and it got thousands and thousands of retweets. And then like 20 minutes later, he's like, "Oop, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Yeah, he did go in there." Like, why would you go? That's what tells me that there's media bias. That's what tells me there's media bias. You're going out of your way to try to find something, and it started way before. But like, remember, like the Trump's first night in the Oval Office, they're like, "Dang, he moved the bust of Martin Luther King. He moved it." And it's like, no, you're going out of your way to try to tear him down. Fake news, fake news, fake news.
Yep. Well, and there's a guy on Twitter, Josh, he goes by Numbers Muncher. And he'll actually catch those tweets and the correction tweet and compare them. And I mean, it's almost to the point where I think some of these people know that they can do that and get a lot of traction out of something, and they do it on purpose. Like, it's not even a genuine mistake.
Oh, I tell you what. Yeah, you don't have to wear a tinfoil hat to get me to believe that. They know they're just making up an egregious falsehood. So anyway, before we go just with the Trump thing, that girl jumped on stage at the Caesar play, the Julius Caesar.
The more I see this stuff going on and the more commentary I see, I'm just convinced that 80% of America doesn't know anything about the classics. I mean, you have her jumping. I mean, the producer has been out there saying, this is not a pro-assassination play. This is a play that shows the bad stuff that happens when people try to take control that way. That is what Julius Caesar is. That's what it's always been. And almost every president has been portrayed as Caesar. I mean, these people are acting like this is the first time that a sitting U.S. president has been put in the role of Caesar. They did it to Barack Obama in 2012 with NEA funding.
Here's the difference, though. Yeah, I'm sure the production with Barack Obama as Caesar, when Caesar's assassinated, you have that quiet hush that comes over the audience because they're all like, "Oh no, oh no." And then Caesar's like, you too, Brutus. And then he dies. And they're like, oh, no, they killed. What have they done? And then Brutus starts to feel bad. And Mark Antony feels bad. But this one, here's what I heard. I mean, and all of this coming off the heel of Kathy Griffin holding up the dead, bloody head. And then you got a clip of, Trump, a Trump figure, getting stabbed. It just looks bad. It's bad optics, as they say. Someone was telling me on Twitter the other day, because I did the latest vlog about it, that when the Trump figure gets stabbed, people start cheering. And that's the true disgusting thing.
Well, and I mean, that is disgusting, but you know what? I don't think some of those activists cheering people would have been there if such a big freaking deal hadn't been made of it. This is Shakespeare in the Park in New York City. It's bound to lean liberal. Okay. But most of the time, if you're going to Shakespeare in the Park, it's because you're a fan of Shakespeare. I mean, you don't go listen to Taming of the Shrew unless you understand it, right?
Yeah.
I think you're seeing a completely different class of activist going to that play now because it turned into such a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. But I guarantee before there was any hoopla over this, I think people were probably cheering when Trump was stabbed. Whatever. And that's where, like, this girl jumps on stage and she interrupts the play and yada yada, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But I'm telling you, if you want to go and protest the Trump assassination play, the tragedy of Julius Caesar, here's what you do: you wait until they kill Caesar and et tu, Brute, and freak out. Just start crying and wailing and grabbing your neighbor. No, just freak out. It would be great. I don't even think you'd get arrested. I just think, just lose your mind, overwrought with grief. They did it. Oh no, it'd be hilarious.
No, that would be.
Some girl jumped on stage. That's what she decided to do. Interrupt the performance.
Yep.
Bad call. Not a fan of that.
Well, and so somebody else did it the next night. Now there's a bunch of GoFundMes and, oh, we're going to go to trial with this. It's $1,000 fine. If you want to GoFundMe the $1,000, that's great. No lawyer's going to take it because you're standing on 1A and 1A does not apply.
A lawyer will take it. I guarantee there's a lawyer in New York who'll be like, I think you got a case. How much money do you have? I've got $25,000. That's funny. That's exactly the number I was going to charge you.
And you're still going to pay the $1,000 fine.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a First Amendment case. Stop saying that. You have no right to your 1A with Twitter, with Facebook, with any company with terms of service, with your employer. You don't. And you don't have one with a private play production in New York City. The only thing the First Amendment provides you is the right for the government not to throw you in jail, kill you, or make you a dissident over something you say.
Yes, and you can jam out to the latest slant.
Yes, you can jam out to the latest slant because
while wearing your Redskins jersey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's what I didn't like about it. Like these people, they're almost like the rights version of social justice warriors. They can't wait to point out, oh, look at this. The girl that got on stage, she partnered up with this guy, and they're bad guys because they're trying to raise this money because of this, that, and the other thing. Look at them trying to get – and it's like it doesn't look like they're trying to get rich off of it. I don't think they're trying to, oh, boy – We got $25,000. We'll be living pretty for the rest of our lives. I think they knew they were going to get in trouble, and they wanted to make sure they were covered. A friend of mine years ago went streaking at an Ohio State game, right? Mm-hmm. Ohio State football. And he knew he was going to get busted, so he prepared. So before he took off all his clothes, because that's my friend's streak the right way, the full Monty, completely nude, he had his little tennis shoes on, and he made sure he had money. He had what he thought was going to be enough money for bail in one shoe, and his other shoe had his driver's license in it, so he could prove who he was. So I don't care. These people, they've got a GoFundMe page. Good for them. I think they are going to have legal fees, and she's going to try to get more money out of it or more attention and publicity. So she probably will try to take it to the next level. And if that's how she's going to pay her legal fees, so be it.
Yeah, no, she's getting her 15 minutes with Hannity tonight, I think, and it'll probably go from there. My bigger deal was we're on the right. I think we're supposed to know better because we talk about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights all the time. Don't call it your 1A rights. Stop that. That's wrong. That's just absolutely wrong.
It does sound like a couple of knuckleheads just grasping at straws.
Right.
And when we get arrested, we'll say it's a violation of our First Amendment rights when they know better. You go to a private performance, you're not allowed to do stuff like that.
Exactly.
You bought a ticket. The ticket's a contract. Yada yada yada. Don't throw me off the plane.
Exactly.
Okie doke. So yeah, but however, I think there's a huge. Oh my gosh, I think my neighbor's pipes are about to explode. Can you hear that?
I can. Are you nervous?
This is like, I'm a little nervous because it's like a pipe. It's like someone's doing a bagpipe, but just one note. Yeah. I'm hoping it stops soon. It's like a bad clarinet, just one tone. This is horrible. This is not gonna last. This will not. I'm gonna be calling the management tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it would be hard to sleep through that if I can hear it through my headphones.
I can't even make it
you're almost on tone with it.
I was very close.
You were very, very close.
You had a little warble. Oh boy, they're big people upstairs.
They're big people?
They're big people.
Yeah, and I had big people neighbors in an apartment once, and it was kind of like they gave, I don't know, lessons on teaching elephants how to dance or something. I mean, they're just the loudest people I ever heard.
And they shower and they bathe a lot.
They bathe a lot?
Yeah, and I think that's what this pipe noise is. I'm very quiet, like they're gonna hear me.
Are they out of water or something?
It sounds just horrifyingly bad. Just this tone. Oh, there it goes. It changed a little bit. It went up a little bit, up a half step.
You think they're running their washing machine, or
they're trying to run something?
Yeah,
maybe it's like a pipe, and I don't know. But they take baths and showers in the weirdest hours. I haven't been here in the longest time.
We just
started back up.
You scared the old neighbors away. You could try it again.
I might have to.
Exactly.
I might have to like really, really crank up some. Oh my gosh! I was on the road. I was in Boston with Kevin James and blah blah blah. And he was doing stand up. His brother was the opening act, and before he went on stage, they played this old song by Fat Boy Slim. Remember Fat Boy Slim?
Remember the name.
What about now, my funk soul brother? Check it out now. It was like I hadn't heard that song in years. And thank the Lord it stopped.
Oh, thank you.
Woo. Okay,
my dogs were starting to scratch at the door. They could hear it.
That was really bad. This is the weirdest show ever. Speaking of racism, how about the slants? And then halfway in we have pipe music. Carrie Fisher's Autopsy just came out. A lot of drugs.
Lots.
Yeah.
The fact that she could even get on a plane on all that. Come on.
I tell you, listen, there was ecstasy, there was cocaine, there was heroin. And I think she was still boozing it a little bit. I watched a documentary about her and her mom recently, and she seemed, whatever she was doing, she was high functioning. I mean, I gotta, in a weird way, I mean, I'm not surprised about the drug use. It doesn't make me, like her any less. But in a weird way, I gotta have to say, nice job.
She was a professional, clearly.
I guess so. She had been around the block. She knew what she was doing. Mm-hmm. Carrie, what are you on? I'm on heroin and ecstasy and cocaine. How you feel? I feel pretty good. I could maybe have a glass of wine or two. Maybe what are you going to do later? Oh, I thought I would just go do some shopping. I got some errands to run, working on a script. just like normal day. Oh, and I got a costume fitting for the next Star Wars movie. But yeah, ecstasy, cocaine, heroin in my system right now. Okay, I gotta go. Got a bunch of stuff I gotta do today. Way to go, Carrie Fisher. We miss you. What else? Oh my gosh, we'll just do like a little death thing here. We'll take a little sidebar for death. That poor kid, Otto Warmbier. I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. He passed away, and where was he? Cincinnati today.
Yeah, how did they maintain him for a year and he gets here with great medical care and boom, gone? I don't get that.
I think because he was barely holding on when they put him on that plane. And I think that when Dennis Rodman showed up, like Dennis Rodman's like, hey, man, I'm going to come over and check out North Korea. I haven't seen you guys in a while. They're like, okay, we got to get rid of this white boy because my friend Dennis is coming over. I honestly think that's what it was. They didn't want to have Dennis Rodman in town when that kid passed away. So they pumped him up full of adrenaline or whatever, and they just kept him alive as long as they could.
I think they beat the snot out of him right before Rodman got there. I don't believe the botulism story because I know people who caught botulism. I know what it did. Botulism shuts down all of your sympathetic nerves and you stop breathing. The only people that I know who have survived a botulism infection had immediate EMT service and had a ventilator placed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a horrible, horrible little organism there. He did not suffer from botulism in any way that I've ever seen. Not that botulism probably isn't rampant in North Korea. I'm hoping we hear what actually happened to him because I'm sure that the doctors who have been taking care of him have some good idea.
I don't think you want anything to go wrong mentally or medically in North Korea. I don't think you don't want a toothache in that town.
If you're in a North Korean prison, you don't want a bug bite.
And you know what was weird? He was trying to steal a poster.
Well, they said that. I think he touched it or something. I mean,
let's say there was a poster on the wall where he was saying he tried to lift it like 15 years. And that's like that show. You ever watch Locked Up Abroad?
Mm-hmm. I've seen it.
Oh, terrifying. Mm-hmm. Terrifying. And it is just startling. It's like, God bless America. God bless America. There are countries on this planet where if you try to steal a propaganda poster, you're going to go to jail for 15 years.
Yep.
That's crazy.
You can't mess with the propaganda.
And when you come across people like that, like, okay, for real, that's your system, that's your law. And that's your punishment. If I take this poster, if I try to take this poster, I'm going to go to jail for 15 years. Yes.
Well, and see, that's a whole nother thing about socialism, communism, etc., right? It's a totalitarian system where you can't mess with the message. You go back to the epic work on what that would look like, and it's 1984, right? People changing history and everything else. So here, this just goes back to the whole thing I said with Caesar. People don't understand literature and art anymore because we stopped teaching it appropriately at some point. Al Franken and Olivia Wilde decide that Donald Trump is straight out of 1984.
That's the ultimate. And I know we've talked about it before on this podcast. When these people start talking about Trump's America is just like 1984, not realizing that the far left, the people who are shutting down the free speech, you're the bad guy in that.
Shutting down free speech. I mean, the main character in 1984 was responsible for rewriting history.
Yeah.
Who's rewriting history? Who's taking down statues that make them feel bad? It's not Donald Trump, and it's not generally the right side of the political spectrum.
And who is coming out with, like, in 1984, they had that weird doublespeak thing that, like, war is peace, and, you know, they had those weird,
Love
like, backwards.
Trump's hate.
Right? And they have these weird things, like someone will do something that's pure evil, and they'll come out and they go, I don't know, that's a mystery. We don't know why that happened. And then when their political opponent does something, they're like, well, obviously he's the victim of brainwashing by political operatives. It's just like, how many attacks have happened by radical Islam? How many people have been blown up, run over, stabbed, whatever? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know what got crazy. Him. We're gonna have to think about this and look into his.
This week was last week was the 1 year had passed since the Pulse shooting in Orlando. Big article in the New York Times. We're still not sure why it happened. You're not? I have a pretty good idea.
Right? They don't know. We're still. We're still looking at evidence. We got a team of psychologists working on it there, Liberty Gypsy. Yeah. But then
Sean Spicer today.
I'm talking about this crazy guy in London, that moron who runs over the people in the mosque, and like right out of the gate. I don't even think that dude was in handcuffs on his way to the police van yet. We're like, well, obviously he's a right wing nut job, and he's been brainwashed by conservatives.
Within 24 hours, the commissioner of police in London is obviously he was anti-Muslim. This is Islamophobia.
Oh,
really?
They're quick on the trigger with that one.
And Sean Spicer stood in front of a press conference today and refused to comment on the shooting at the baseball field where the guy was carrying an assassination list in his pocket because the investigation is ongoing. Again, I think we know what happened.
Yeah,
this is not a mystery here.
It has something to do with Gabby Gifford and Sarah Palin.
Oh my God!
They kept bringing it back to that. I'm like, holy smokes! You've got 11 Republicans out in the middle of a baseball field dodging bullets, and this really goes back to Gabby Gifford and when Sarah Palin tried to have her assassinated. You're just like, this is. Which crazy.
Was completely debunked. This guy had been obsessed with Giffords for like 3 years.
Yes. But I tell you,
and the New York Times puts it in an editorial, and it's like, yo, what?
Sarah Palin said she was going to sue. I hope she does. Sue because they knew that was wrong. They knew that was wrong. Isn't that
they knew it was wrong? Libel? And they did a correction.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, yeah. People were losing their minds.
When that would happen to Trump is like, I'm going to have my lawyers look into it so maybe we can change the libel so we can try to sue. And then people are like, oh, my gosh, he hates the First Amendment. And I think he's an incredibly frustrated person when you're allowed to just print lies and you know it's a lie and you come back a half hour later and go, oh, my bad, I lied.
The whole thing with Comey. Comey told me 3 times I wasn't under investigation. New York Times leaks, we have it on good authority. That's not true. And then Comey gets up there and testifies. That's exactly what he told him.
I feel like such an old man right now. But like when these people start freaking out over a New York Times story or a Washington Post story, I'm like Foghorn Leghorn. Like, are you really going to believe that boy? Are you that slow, son? Like, how many times How many times has it been proven false? And people are like, oh my God, the Washington Post has a source. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Just put your panties back
Rosenstein, then Rosenstein, the assistant attorney general, who's now got the special counsel reporting to him, right, comes out and says, when you see these things anonymously sourced, I'm telling you right now, they're sourced from people who don't know what's going on. You might want to know at least the department or the country before you believe anything. So here's the assistant AG saying that's a load of crap that he's under investigation now. They're still running with it. They're still running with it today because he tweeted a joke.
Why did he say it in the tweet? Oh, it's so obviously a joke. And people are like, well, he said it. He used that word. Why did he say it? If he says it, it must be true. Really? I mean, I can understand people not understanding sarcasm on Twitter, especially with the new Twitter.
Oh, my God. The new Twitter's awful.
But it's like I seriously, I want to go up to these newscasters and go, you don't see where this is a joke, where Trump is like showing you sarcasm. I mean, I'm under investigation by the people who told me to stop the investigation into the investigation. It's like wordplay. It's like a who's on first.
Yeah.
If you can't see, if you're like, oh, I have to take him literally.
If I could talk to Donald Trump, I want to teach him how to use like the eye roll emoji, which denotes sarcasm. I think I could help him. I could help him.
Thank the Lord he's not using emojis. If he would go down like 7 rungs in my – like right now I really like the guy, but if he started doing like winkies and thumbs up, I'd be like, oh, no, that's
but just
not
if he's being sarcastic, then /sarc. That's another way you can do it. He's just – because they're just – okay, so all through the campaign, you couldn't take him literally. Remember? But now they take everything he says literally.
Oh, remember when he's like, I bet I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and I'd still get votes?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh my gosh, he's going to shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue.
No, he's not.
Come on. If you're looking to be offended, there's plenty to be offended by. If you're looking for it, you're going to find it. But the Supreme Court gave a slant today. I don't care that you're offended. The Supreme Court has my back.
And do you know, in a twist of all things, who I just want to hug?
Who?
Alan Dershowitz.
Dershowitz is the bomb lately. I don't know what he got in his bonnet, but he's all about the Constitution.
Well, I mean, he's a constitutional law professor. He taught Ted Cruz. They didn't agree on a lot and didn't agree necessarily on every interpretation. But when it comes to executive powers, he's very clear. Everybody's telling me. I'm like, if he really wanted to end the investigation, all he had to do was pardon him. He can't pardon him. He wasn't charged. I'm like, oh, really? So Ford didn't pardon Nixon?
Yeah, and Bush didn't. Who did Bush's dad pardon?
Casper Weinberger, but I think he might have been charged.
But it was the night before he testified.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, ergo, he doesn't have to testify because guess what? Whatever you're going to charge him with, I'm going to say he's innocent.
Yes, the doctrine of preemptive pardon is like from 1886 or something.
It is. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I honestly, I feel bad for these people who sip from this Kool-Aid fountain of BS every day, and they really believe it. Like, oh, here it comes. Today's the day he's going to get impeached. Oh, I read this article in the New York Times. This is it. This is it. This is the one. Washington Post says this is it. This is the one. Like how it's like being on the edge of a sneeze, and a sneeze feels so good. A sneeze, and like you're here's a guy impeach, Maxine Waters, here it comes. And you're never going to have that release. You're never going to have that big impeachment orgasm that you want.
If this
it's just a giant dick tease of impeachment.
Rosie O'Donnell's going to have a heart attack.
Oh, I tell you what, it doesn't shock me at all that this guy went out on that baseball field and some poor twisted soul like that is going to think I'm a hero. They are really going to think that they're a hero. But yeah, people are going to lose it. Rosie's going to lose it. Who else? Who else is going to lose their mind?
Oh gosh, Alyssa Milano.
Oh my! Did she just get ripped off? Did she just find out that her manager stole a bunch of money from her or something?
Oh, I missed that. If she did,
I think that happened today.
Did
Where,
it? Because I'm
yeah.
just really irritated that she keeps coming down into Georgia 6 for this 12-year-old named Ossoff.
Oh boy.
The
And I
special
say,
election. Oh my God, they could not.
keep your eye on that one because
I'm just telling
that's just
you,
a barometer of how angry they are. And they're all coming out for this Ossoff guy.
like 26 million of the 30 million he raised came from California.
Yeah. Well, it'll be a very, very good like barometer, like a windsock, like a weather vane thing, just to see how bad the headwinds are. Because
I honestly don't even know that it's that.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
No, this race became nationalized. You are not going to be able to nationalize every House race in 2018. And not only that, if this little dork gets elected now, he's going to be out in 18. That is a red district. This is completely fabricated.
But what they need is a hero. They need their Joan of Arc. They need it's a symbol, right? They've lost the other little special elections, and they're like, well, it was close. It was close. That's a really, really red county, and we made it close. And if the Democrats would have spent some money, we really would have won. And they keep saying that. They need to put up a victory. They need to put up a victory. And you have these super, super angry liberals right now because Russia hacked the election and Donald Trump is the Antichrist, and they're throwing gay people into reassessment camps, and so they need a victory. And I tell you what, if this Ossoff guy wins, they're going to go, this is it, and they're going to try to mobilize. If we all come together, we can do it. If we all come together, we can do it. And I'm terrified of that. I'm scared of that because they are out there, and they are legion. And if the millennials look what the millennials just did in England. That chick tried to have a special election. She goes, "Oh, if I do it sooner, it'll be better." And man, oh man, the millennials came out in droves and they shut her down, and they put their own little English version of Bernie Sanders in there. And I tell you what, that's really, really, when you have everybody who's fresh out of the MSNBC reprogramming camp go out to vote, it's woohoo.
Well, that's what we call college now, right?
That's what it is.
Oh, I know.
That's that Dennis Prager movie that he's working on. But that's what. And if those kids come out in droves and give me something for nothing, if they come out in droves, I don't think there's enough conservatives. I don't think there's enough libertarians to stop them. I want to go on record as saying this, and I said it when Donald Trump won. The reason he won is because Hillary wasn't a good candidate and she didn't have all that support. But if you can mobilize all these young people and people in bad neighborhoods and out of work people who think, man, oh man, the government owes me a bunch of money for nothing. I should just get a bunch of money for nothing. If they all come out and vote, that's the end of democracy. That's what happened when the people realize they can vote themselves these huge raises and all this largesse. That's right, I used largesse. That's the end of democracy.
You used it very well, too.
I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, except until they realize that eventually you run out of other people's money. You know, Illinois, the bluest of the blue, may be the first state to go bankrupt.
I know California looked into it.
Mm-hmm.
California tried, and this is back when Schwarzenegger was governor. He's like, what if we went bankrupt? Like, you can't do it, guy. You're a state. And then I swear he had his lawyers look into, what if we weren't a state? What if we were just a territory? Like, no, you can't do that either.
I don't know, but I mean, what does the state do when they literally run out of money?
That's a really good question. I don't know. This whole thing, it's like when you're driving on the road, right? Everybody on the road agrees that those little lines are magic somehow, and I won't cross over that. And the guy coming at me, he agrees that he won't cross over. And it's like an unspoken agreement with everybody on the road. We're all going to pretend that all this is, these are the rules. We're all going to follow the rules. We're all going to get to where we're each going. That's kind of like a great metaphor for democracy. Mm-hmm. And once somebody realizes, man, you can just drive all over the road. The other cars get out of your way. I don't know what happens to them, but I'm going to get where I'm going and come on behind me. Then it all crumbles. It's all democracy, this republic. It's all a giant illusion. And these kids, you can do it, everybody. You certainly can do it. It's perfectly legal. Everybody can vote. Hey, if you're born in America, you get $100,000 and a Ferrari and a townhouse in Bel Air. You can do it. You can all vote for it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. But that seems to be like this imaginary land, and that's why Bernie is so popular. Well, and everybody needs to go back and read Animal Farm. Please, for the love of God, read Animal Farm, because that's who gets rich. The people who get rich in communism and the people who get rich in socialism are the people who decide what is fair. Mm-hmm. That's the only job you want, is in the department of what is fair. Those people will make a fortune.
Well, and this all goes back to my little shtick about the Fabians, over a year ago now.
Yep. That was like episode 1 practically.
Well, episode 1 for us. And, the far progressive left believes we need a ruling class who makes all the decisions.
Yes.
That is their core belief. And that's why they saw everybody off into these little tiny – I mean, look at what happened. Look at what happened to the brave Capitol Police officer, one of them, who took down the guy in the baseball field. She no longer has a name to people like George Takei. He just calls her a black lesbian police officer.
Oh,
she doesn't even have a name. All they are identifying her by is the color of her skin and who she prefers to sleep with. And I find that disgusting.
Yeah, well, and very, it's disgusting and extremely boring, and I would be so pissed if I was that girl.
So would I.
Like, she did an awesome, her and that other dude, like, seriously, there's a guy with what he had or something, and they got little handguns, pew, 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 and they beat him. They won, which is like the hallmark for it's a good thing when everybody has a gun.
Well, you know what? The left wasn't really happy with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Okay, you had a Wonder Woman, and you took her name away.
Yeah, I tell you, it is. It's troubling, and that's why I always go out to. I'm happy that people like we started off like super funny, and then we sometimes we'll get preachy. I don't care. I like, but it's like it's really, in my opinion, it's important. And I'm so happy that people are. The videos are doing great. Everything's going well. Thank you, everybody, for doing this, because you have to spread the word, because it is a landslide of this giant, and I'm going to say propaganda, but it is like a propaganda machine. Everywhere you turn, every piece of entertainment, everything is like, and the end result of this propaganda machine, this warfare of sharing is caring, and Bernie's the best one, and socialism hasn't really been tried. The end result of that is not going to be good for anybody.
Read Animal Farm.
Yeah, read it.
Well, and here's your proof to the positive. We already talked about guy in London runs into people coming out of a mosque within 24 hours. It's Islamophobia.
Mm-hmm.
Dude
Guaranteed.
in France on the jihad watch list, rams into a police van with a vehicle full of guns and gasoline. But we don't know why that happened yet.
We're not sure. We're not sure of his background. We're gonna have to look into it. It's a mystery. They can just leave the lights off on the Eiffel Tower. They should It's going to be very rare when those lights come on. Mm-hmm. France is off the table for me. Oh, here's a funny one. This guy in Sweden, he was like he was one of the experts on Islamophobia. This guy, big time. If you were doing a newscast in Sweden and you want to talk about how bad Islamophobia was, you'd call this guy up because he would tell you, oh, that's Islamophobia. These are lies. That's horrible. This is bad. Well, that guy took off recently and he joined ISIS. I just think it's hilarious. Like one day he doesn't show up to work, his wife and his kids, and he just made a video. He's like, hey, and he's like a Swedish dude down there fighting for ISIS now. I think that's hilarious. I don't know why I think it's so funny.
Well, and I mean, he was literally Swedish. He wasn't an immigrant or a
no. No,
because I was going to say, if you think CARE isn't placing people strategically within the CARE and other organizations like it aren't placing people strategically within like the movements in the resistance, you're crazy. Linda Sauersor is nothing but a prop.
Oh my goodness!
This
guy's name was Michael Nikolai Scramo.
Oh my God! He's going to be killed.
He's a white dude. He's like straight up white, but there's a picture of him with the fatigues on, and he's in a little video telling other people, "Hey, come on down and join up. We got a holy war going on." So evidently he was just, I think he was fibbing a little bit about the Islamophobia. Very funny. You know what? I don't know if I'll ever go to France now. That was one of the places that was on my list, but like, I don't think I want to go to Paris now. I used to think
I was there.
I had that romantic. You're lucky. You were lucky. Mm-hmm. I wanted to sew. I had one of those things where I wanted to bang by the what's that river? The Seine.
Yes.
Yeah,
with the bridges with all the locks on them for people that are allowed.
Yeah.
Yes,
like the boats go by and me and the wife are just kind of making out, and then we stop kissing and we look at the people in the boats and they look at us and it's like, aw, and then they go by and then we just start bow bow, and then like, oh no, we're gonna get caught, so we duck into an alley and some cat has to get off a garbage can and it's just like it starts raining and it's just bow, just that's what I've always.
Wow.
I wanted that to happen.
You went way into that fantasy.
Oh, it's
right
very
down to
cinematic.
the cat.
It's very cinematic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like almost. It's not film noir because it's all good. I have a couple things. I wanted to do Running of the Bulls and then duck. You know what? It's weird. That's another one. Duck into the alley and have at it. Though that's the common thread. I got two now where I want to duck into an alley and bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. No, like I said, I went to Paris and it was a beautiful city and the food was great and lots of good wine all during the day. Like you can drink there on your lunch hour. It's kind of different. I probably would never have gone to Europe if I hadn't been with an employer who required me to go to Europe because I prefer to go.
You didn't bang
south.
some French guy though.
No, I was
That's
a devoted
shame.
wife and mom while I was there. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
The girl, and I'm outing her. The girl who does my hair, she cuts my hair in L.A. She's awesome. She's just awesome. Big time liberal, but such a great person. I just love her to death. She travels all over the place. She was banging some bartender in Italy. She's like, how you know what? I'm in Italy. He's hot. I'm horny. It's I'm like, that's fantastic. That's what life is supposed to be. Go sow your wild oats.
Well, and apparently, for the guys, if you do it, often enough, you can actually cure cancer.
Well, you can keep cancer at bay. And this came out. This is a new medical study, and that's a great transition. They say 21 orgasms, at least 21 orgasms a month is what a dude needs to keep prostate cancer away. I'm a dead man. Boom, boom.
Well, I mean, there's ways you can up your game that don't require a partner.
Really?
I'm just saying.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
This is the first I've heard of this.
I'm just saying, if you're really worried about it.
I'm an expert.
You'll go blind. You'll sacrifice your vision and prevent cancer. Yeah, there you go.
That's the joke. The guy's, masturbating, and then his mom comes in, and she goes, "If you keep doing that, you'll go blind." He's like, "How about I do it till I need glasses?" That's the joke. And I wear glasses. Yeah, but that's there's no way, and I say this in my stand-up now, like sex is by far my favorite thing. It's free, it's wonderful, it's endorphins, it's the whole thing. It's got drugs, it's a workout. Like there is zero downside of more sex is always the answer. I got 21. That's that to me. That's a low number. That's a low number. I'd like to be able to tell my wife the actual number a month. 62. 62. We're just going to double it. We're gonna
double it.
twice.
You almost tripled it.
We're gonna go 2 a days. We're gonna go 2 a days.
So that would be 42. You
what
almost tripled
talking
it.
I'm talking about like a month that has 31 days. You going 2 a days? That's 62.
Oh, I thought you were saying doubling the 21.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I'm talking about 2 a days. I'm talking about good morning and good night.
Oh man.
No, but that's good. So we're saving lives.
Pam, call me.
Yeah, that's one of the things we try to do on the show is we try to save lives. 21 orgasms a month to keep your man alive, ladies.
Get to work.
It's get to work. It's the least you can do.
Support the patriarchy. I'm kidding.
That's right.
I'm kidding.
Okay. There's a thing on Twitter right now that I don't know why they're trying to make this trend like the bizarre tan lines. And I want to tell you, I'm not anti-tan line, but I'm certainly not pro-tan line. Sometimes tan lines are great. Sometimes a tan line can be super, super sexy. But those little like sandal mark tan lines and the tan line from where your wristwatch is, not a fan of those. Not a fan of those. No,
that's too bad.
I like the bikini tan line or no tan line at all. That would be the best way to go.
So really, ladies, gentlemen, just sunbathe naked.
Sunbathe naked.
There you
go. Let's knock out 20 of these orgasms. Keep everybody happy.
21, or the cancer
21.
risk is still there.
Blackjack. My wife be like, dealer busts. I need 21. Don't we all? You busted. Okay. It's time for Michaeltopia, right?
It is.
We are right in the wheelhouse. We're so good at this. And make sure we got a new episode of The Flip Side coming out. Ryan Gerdusky, his episode
good.
is this week.
That's a cute interview. Yeah. I love that one.
That kid's funny. He's funny. All right. So, do you have a new rule for Michaeltopia?
I do.
What it is?
In Michaeltopia, when something bad happens to someone, we do not blame the victims, and we do not cheer when people go into the hospital.
You just turned into, who's the guy? And that's the rest of the story. Who's that guy?
I don't know. But we had a whole slew of people asking if Steve Scalise, because of his voting record, didn't kind of ask to get shot and almost die. And we had a bunch of people cheering when Tucker Carlson went into the hospital with appendicitis. And I just find that absolute. I mean, I'm sorry. If Nancy Pelosi had a stroke, I wouldn't be on Twitter cheering about it. That is so macabre. I can't even deal with it.
For real. And at least have the humanity to wait till they're out of intensive care. Like when it's touch and go, we don't know if he's going to live or he's going to die. Where his situation is shaky, we'll give you updates. You can save your little criticisms for his voting record until we know he's going to make it.
What you tweeted at that point was, well, maybe he wouldn't have gotten shot if he'd supported same-sex marriage.
That's horrible.
It was awful.
I know. I saw Joe Scarborough getting upset about it. I knew it must have been getting
Jake
bad.
Tapper. It was bad. It was bad for a couple days.
Yeah, I know. Like at one point, Joe Scarborough was like, "I can't believe what I'm reading." Like, people, come on.
You know who
yikes.
the worst was? Joanne Reid. A.M. Joy tweeted a meme. Oh my God, she got hammered even by her peers. That is just so wrong.
That's good.
And Michaeltopia, if we really don't like someone and maybe aren't sorry something happened to them, we just shut up.
Yes.
We don't say anything.
In Michaeltopia, you just wait for a little bit till you know how it's going to go.
So I did tweet a meme that said, you can turn any salad into a Caesar if you stab it enough. Over this whole,
Any salad's a Caesar if you stab it. That's a good joke.
Yeah, I liked it. I just said too soon with all the uproar over Julius Caesar. It was quite popular.
And here's the thing, and like when I did the vlog last week talking about the whole Julius Caesar and Caesars, it's the tragedy of Julius. I felt bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking down to these people, and I even said it in the thing. I'm like I'm sorry. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence by walking you through Julius Caesar. But man, I tell you, a lot of people have no idea. They have no idea. Mm-hmm. That's not good. Okay. My Michaeltopia is pale in comparison. And in my Michaeltopia, In Michaeltopia, there is no such thing as body wash. In my Michaeltopia, we have declared body wash to be a total failure. You cannot clean yourself with body wash. I'm at this hotel and you squirt out a little goop into your hand, and by the time you rub it on your elbow, it's gone. You never make a lather, and now you got to use all kinds of like loofahs and sponges and just to try to get a lather going. Stop with what's wrong with soap? Soap is good.
They didn't give you soap in the hotel?
No, you had a selection of body washes. You go into the shower and you can use this scented body wash, that scented body wash, or that scented body wash. And then the other side of the shower head, you could use this scented shampoo or this scented conditioner. But it was all like liquids. I'm like, hey, hook a brother up with a bar of soap. I got to get clean here.
That's actually funny because when I travel, I take the Dove body wash with me because I don't like the soap.
I need a good lather. I need a good lather so I can get my number down to at least 20 by the time I leave the hotel.
Oh, my God.
We all have our systems. Hey, clean as a whistle, everybody. We had a great show. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so very, very much for sharing the videos. I hope you guys know that I really do notice. I mean, I've seen the numbers go up. I've seen the shares go up. It's a wonderful thing that you're doing, and I cannot thank you enough. And I don't ever, ever, ever want to forget to say it. And I love it all. I love what's all going on. We got some exciting guests coming up on the show. It'll be great. It'll be great. So thanks for joining us for the ride. I will talk to you very soon, won't I, Liberty Gypsy?
Yes, you will.
You guys have a great, great week. I'll talk to you later. 21!